Hello, this is Miss Anne. Today I'm going to read to you the story The Great Kapok Tree by Lynne. This is a favorite of mine, and the reason why I'm doing it is because it comes from Brazil, an area of the world where I was born and grew up. So, two men walked into the rainforest. Moments before, the forest had been alive with the sounds of squawking birds and howling monkeys. Now all was quiet as the creatures watched the two men and wondered why they had come. The larger man stopped and pointed to the great kapok tree. Then he left. The smaller man took the axe and carried and struck the tree. Whack, whack, whack. The sound of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard. Chop, chop, chop. The man wiped off the sweat that ran down his face and neck. Whack, chop, whack, chop. Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the great kapok tree. Before he knew it, the heat and the hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. A boa constrictor lived in the kapok tree. He slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash the axe had made in the tree, and then the huge snake slid very close to the man and hissed in his ear. "Señor, this tree is the tree of miracles. It is my home, where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down." A bee buzzed in the sleeping man's ear. "Señor, my hive is in this kapok tree, and I fly from tree to tree and flower to flower collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate the trees and flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another." A troop of monkeys scampered down from the canopy of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man. "Señor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, then you come back for another, and another. The roots of the great tree will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away, and the forest will become a desert." A toucan and a macaw and the cock of the rock flew down from the canopy. "Señor," squawked the toucan, "you must not cut down the tree. We have flown over the rainforest and seen what happens once you begin to chop down trees. Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears. Once there was life and beauty, and only black and smoldering ruins remain." A bright and small tree frog crawled along the edge of a leaf. He squeaked in a voice, and it piped in the man's ear. "Señor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives, and many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down this tree, the kapok tree." A jaguar had been sleeping among the branches in the middle of the tree. Because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him. Now he leapt down and padded silently over to the sleeping man. He growled in his ear, "Señor, the kapok tree is my home, and the home to many birds and animals. If you cut it down, where will I find my dinner?" 4 tree porcupines swung down from the branch to branch and whispered to the man, "Señor, do you not know that animals and humans need in order to live? Oxygen. And Señor, do not trees produce oxygen? If you cut down the forest, you will destroy what gives us all life." Several anteaters climbed down from the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleeping man, "Señor, You are chopping down the tree with no thought for the future. And surely you know what happens tomorrow depends on what you do today. The big man tells you to chop down the beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children, who tomorrow must live in a world without trees. A three-toed sloth had begun climbing down from the canopy when the men first appeared. Only now did she reach the ground. Plodding ever so slowly over to the sleeping man, she spoke in her deep and lazy voice. "Señor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the beauty of the rainforest, on what will you feast your eyes?" A child from the Yanomamo tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over the sleeping man. He murmured in his ear, "Señor, when you awake, please look upon us with new eyes." And the man woke up with a start. Before him stood the forest child, and all around him, staring, were the creatures who depended on the great kapok tree. What a wondrous and rare animals they were! The man looked and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended from the great kapok tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of the flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor. But he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree, and suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child. He hesitated. Then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest. That's the end of our story for today. I'm hoping that you will come to the library and show me what books come from the place where you come from and where you've lived. Bye.